Hello, my name is Donna Williams, and I wanted to talk about a subject that is very important to a lot of people, okay, and that's the subject of marriage. Marriage matters, and I need to let everyone knows that marriage does matter. In today's society, a lot of families, okay, a lot of people choose not to get married, and for whatever reason, they feel that marriage is not something they would like to participate because of whatever innuendos or any ideas that they had in the past that would cause them to believe that marriage is not important. What I'm going to tell you today about marriage is going to absolutely change the way you think about marriage, okay? First, I'm going to cover what is marriage defined by God, and also what is the purpose of marriage. Marriage affects on children. Divorce hurts every family member, okay? Problem solving, same-sex marriages, and that's a hot topic that a lot of people want to talk about as well. What are the different stages of dating? That's important for people to know, to prepare for dating and the different stages necessary to date. Also, uncommitted relationships. Uncommitted relationships have an effect on a lot of families. And I can tell you why. I'm going to explain why in details. I'm also going to talk about the legal issues of shacking up. There are legal issues when it comes to shacking up as well. So I'm going to also talk about, as you get older and stuff, marriage, how healthy it is when you get older and stuff, the effects of it as well. In conclusion, I'm going to also ask if there's any questions. But first of all, I'm going to cover right now, to start it off with, is what is marriage defined by God. Now, marriage defined by God in Malachi 2:14, okay, is a covenant between a man and a woman before God. Is an actual relationship between a man and a woman, and is ordained by God, the relationship. See, the difference between a contract and a covenant. A covenant is based on trust, okay, and a contract is based on distrust. That's the reason why people get into a contract, because there's a point of time where people you may distrust them basically, and you have to sue them. So you want to have all the legality of it, and that's the purpose of the contract. But a covenant is based on trust. Okay, also another defined by marriage is the reason, and everything defined by marriage is when you get married, it's supposed to be before God and before man. Okay, there's a law, okay, that states that that you're supposed to get married before man and have an actual ceremony. So if you go to courthouse, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and you ask the question about having a ceremony to actually make your marriage legal. So yes, you can get married before God, but you also have to make it before man as well, because we have to obey the laws of this land. See, marriage is a legal and moral and physical commitment between a man and a woman, and that is defined by God. What is the purpose of marriage? The purpose of marriage is, first of all, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. In order to know a purpose of anything, you have to know the reason for it. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So if you don't know the purpose of something, you will misuse it, and it can cause abuse. If a person don't know, for example, a purpose of a wife, they call it spousal abuse. When you abuse someone because you don't understand or define the purpose or use it for its intended purpose. See, God wants us to establish, from the beginning He established marriage. He wants us to actually okay, reproduce and reign together in holy matrimony between a man and a woman. Okay, marriage have a very, very profound effect on children. When there is a man and a woman in the household, a mother and a father, the kids just happen to do better for whatever reason, because you have the structure of a man and a woman there, children living in the same household, have better mental health conditions compared to the ones that don't, on average. Okay, married couples also have a lower risk of infant mortality. They also, on average, they have better disciplined kids. As a matter of fact, the kids have a better chance of actually going to college as well. So the discipline of a husband and a wife in a family makes a big difference in the home. Okay, there's a subject. God hates divorce, but let's talk about this subject. Okay, divorce affects every member of the family. Okay, especially the kids. Okay, the children actually have an increased failure rate in school. It reduces likelihood of them even going to college, as a matter of fact. The children have a higher psychological stress as well. Okay, and they actually have a greater chance of being abused, because if you're living with someone that's not actually your dad or your mother, that person might not take the same care if it was their own child. So you have to consider that if you get a divorce and then you get in a relationship with another person, you don't know that that person is ready to have kids or want to have kids, or even respect the fact that you have kids, and they're just there for you and really don't want the kids involved. So there's a selfish relationship. Let's talk about problem solving. Now, when people get married, they're going to always have some type of problem that comes up. Every marriage have every type of situation that can possibly come up. For whatever reason, people don't always get along. Okay, people from different backgrounds, different ethnic groups, they don't know exactly how to get along with someone else all the time. You're still learning that person. Okay, just because you're married, that doesn't mean you're completely 100% compatible in every single area. Now, you can be equally yoked, okay, and still have disagreements. You can even agree to disagree, because everyone's going to have disagreements. In order to solve certain problems, both couples have to be completely honest with each other. And that's very important, to be honest with each other. Honesty kind of reveals who you really are to the person. So then they'll feel more comfortable with you, so you can build a constructive resolution for the problem. Okay, so you can be able to stand some of the fears and the backlash that comes with distrust. You have to be honest with someone and let them know exactly where you're coming from, so they can communicate to you effectively. Because sometimes that person may not be in the position to give all the information to you at the time, but you have to get in that comfort zone and be able to share one another intricate details that you need to be open with them about in a relationship, so you can move forward. You need to be able to trust that person. Okay, here's a subject that I wasn't gonna come across. I mean, I was gonna actually kind of skip this subject, but I just have to get it out. Okay, same-sex marriage. This is my opinion on it, based on a lot of research, a lot of data that I looked at over the years, and also over scriptures that I've read. Now, what is the purpose of same-sex marriage? I mean, people are like, okay, what is the purpose of same-sex marriage? It's very important to understand that you don't want to redefine what marriage is just because of benefit reasons. Okay, to receive the same benefits is not a reason to redefine the purpose of a holy matrimony between a man and a woman. We have to first establish that also. But as I stated earlier, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So if you don't know the purpose of something, you tend to misuse or abuse that purpose. Okay, you have young kids right now that don't know what, for example, this little girl, okay, have a young friend, they're about the same age, this 2 6-year-olds, and she said, Mom, do I really love my friend. Does that mean that I'm gay? Now, questions like that, a little child shouldn't be asking those type of questions. But in today's society, we painted a picture of what it actually is. So there's a lot of ignorance as well. But we can't. We got to understand that we can't mix what God defines as marriage with what one's right is to live together and to have similar rights of married couples. So you can have the similar rights, but not try to redefine what marriage is defined as. Okay, enough said on same-sex marriage. I don't want anybody to get a misunderstanding of where I'm coming from. And I don't think that it's something that need to be redefined. Okay, marriage is between a man and a woman in my definition. What are the stage of dating? Initially, the stage of dating is, the first stage is on a mental level, physical level. You might be physically attracted to somebody. Okay, you also have a social impression of what that person that you are attracted to looks like. So when I say social impression, I would say that in the magazines or on television, you have this preconceived notion of how you want your spouse to look like because of the media, or how they portray what a beautiful woman is or what a handsome man is. They redefine what they are. So with all the makeup, with all the working out and all the, it's not hypothetical, but it's the fact of the matter is the focus kind of sways from what it need to be on, and that's not just the physical. You have to find out who that person is. So when you're dating, okay, you are dating for preparation for marriage. You do not want to get into relationships over and over again, in and out relationships, because that's practicing divorce. The only reason why you ought to date is if you're preparing yourself for marriage. So I tell the youth that boyfriend, girlfriend, and stuff like that is not needed unless you're preparing yourself for marriage. Okay, now you're just looking to have a friend, that's one thing, but you're looking to have a fling, okay, or a friend is two different things. Okay, you just want to have fun and hang out with somebody or whatever like that of the opposite sex, that's fine. But not to the point where you're going to get into a fornication, a physical relationship with someone and not commit in a godly relationship with someone of marriage. So it's better to marry than to burn with useful lust. But you want to be able to be with someone that you care about, okay? And that's the process of dating, to find out who that person is. But that's only if you're preparing yourself for marriage. Sometimes people can date too soon and it kind of mess up their future. They're practicing divorce. Let's talk about uncommitted relationships. See, uncommitted relationships, since there's no commitment involved, okay, they're more likely to divorce when they do decide to commit. When they actually in a relationship and when they actually get married, they'll be in an uncommitted relationship before they get married. Okay, then they'll go and shack up together and be together, and then they basically practice divorce. And sometimes when they get together for the real thing, marriage and stuff like that, they don't know what commitment is, because they lived a life together without commitment so long, so it's easy for them to feel still they're not. And I think that's important to know, that everybody in an uncommitted relationship will have some type of issue that's going to affect them in their long-term future, because you're not able to express yourself to that person, because you basically have another person on their side and they will never know it. You're not really committed to making a decision to say, hey, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to marry this person. So there's a lot of focus on uncommitted relationships nowadays, because people want to do what they want to do. They get in a relationship, they get out of a relationship. In commitment of relationship, people feel that it's okay to stay together without actually being married. And we're going to get into it later on when we talk about, shacking up. Okay, now let's talk about shacking up. See, shacking up has a lot of legal issues you have to be concerned about. When you just stand together, you're not able to, let's say you stay together for years and years and years, and that person dies for whatever reason, you're not able to collect anything on that person because you're not an actual family member. You're not considered married. You don't have the same rights as a married person. So I can understand why the same-sex marriage will be an issue with that, of people that want to get that want to get married and can't get married because the state won't allow them to get married, but they've been living together for such a long time that they feel that they ought to get the benefits. And I understand that, but remember the fine of a marriage between a husband and the wife, and the legal issue of it is very important, because survival benefits are to your spouse. And if you're not in a relationship with that person and your spouse, they're not going to award you're just a friend with it like that. You have to be in a committed relationship, like a marriage, in order to get the benefits. And now there are laws that govern that, where you stay with someone for a period of time, and that you have certain rights afforded to you as well. Let's see. Another issue with shacking up is the fact of, let's say you were at work or something like that, and some family member or some family member died, and then they would give you bereavement. Okay, but if someone that you're shacking up with that happens to die, they're not going to give you bereavement off of some person you're just living with. It's a big difference. Okay, shacking up to me is practicing divorce. You love someone, you care enough about somebody so much, you want to respect their space, and you want to commit to that person and in a relationship to move forward, but you don't want to move too fast, because if it starts fast, most likely it's going to end fast. Okay, now, growing old together, okay, this longevity, a lot of people want to know, what can you do in order to keep a strong marriage? And I've been married 25 years, okay, and I got married since I was 18 years old. I have 3 boys and a girl. I got married at a young age, I understand that, but we're still married and we're still in a happy relationship. And what I say, one of my keys is to put God in the center of your joy. Put God in the center of your marriage, and then that way you would not have to rely and put all the pressure on the other person, okay? And you would not have to have anybody to just keep you in check, because you have the scripture to keep you in check. You have God to lean on when you're weak, okay? Now, the strong bears the infirmities of the weak. We're supposed to help one another out. We're supposed to help each other out. But let's say trust, for example. I'm going to trust in God to keep my wife, and her the same. When you have a fear of God in your heart, of the love and respect, and that's the kind of fear I'm talking about, because you love and respect God, you want to do the right thing. Okay? Let not the sun go down on your wrath. If you're angry with one another, you don't want to take that to bed. You want to nip it in the bud. For example, if there's a problem, consistently it comes up, you want to have a pattern interrupt to break that pattern that consistently try to disrupt your family. for whatever reason, that person, let's say your spouse come home and you know that that person is gonna, you know that your spouse is gonna be a little upset coming home, okay, they're working overtime or whatever like that. So you want to, instead of doing the same thing, you want to do something completely different. Because if you come home, they come home, and then y'all start arguing again, you want to do a pattern interrupt and disrupt that pattern that's developing. And you can do something completely different from what you normally would do. Okay? So that those are some of the keys you can use in order to keep a relationship healthy, is to use a pattern interrupt that'll cause you not to just lean on your own understanding of how you want to do things, but you actually want to get to the point where you can help each other out and lean on one another and to build a stronger relationship. And that's necessary if you want to grow older in a relationship on a long term, because if you start fast in a relationship, it normally ends fast. But if you build a friendship up before you even get married, it's gonna, when the hard times come, there's gonna be a point where you're gonna rely on your friendship to keep you in that marriage, because you're gonna need that. It's not all about a physical relationship with someone. It's more deeper than that. That person on a different level, you need to know them, and you need to learn who they are on many different levels. And as old as you get, you can be old people, and you're still learning something new about the other. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good, but you're still learning and you're still growing to one another. So keep your antennas open, you keep your doors open for learning and growth, and share with one another, be honest with one another, and that's one of my keys. Another key is that, and this is me as a man, I would say this: if she's not happy, the dogs ain't happy, the kids ain't happy, the cats ain't happy, I want to be happy. So in order for me to be happy, I have to have her to be happy. And it's important for me to share. In conclusion, marriage just makes sense. Okay? It is natural. It's something or ordained by God between a man and a woman to have a godly covenant relationship, which is marriage, between a husband and a wife. It's healthy, okay? Marriage is something that over time has its longevity to keep a family unit strong. When you have kids, you have a mother, you have a father in the home, it makes a big difference. So, in conclusion, I would say just, it's not obsolete. It just makes sense that a woman and a man are to be together in a holy matrimony. The parts just fit. They just fit. And only a man and a woman can produce a child. And that's important to know, that it was ordained by God. It is something designed by God. It's natural. Okay? And it's our divine purpose. Okay, thank you very much. This is Don Williams, and thank you for your time. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them down below, and I promise to try to respond to you as soon as I'm able to.